Hey, what's up guys? My name is Anand and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about AI SEO for WordPress. I'll be walking through some strategies and workflows and really giving you some practical, tactics in terms of how you can implement AI SEO, or also known as generative engine optimization, but mainly focused on WordPress. You can also apply these for websites that are built on Drupal, Webflow, Wix, Squarespace. But I have some specific mentions of plugins over here, so I think WordPress would be the main focus. But anyways, I want to walk you through like what exactly it is, why GEO, how is it different from traditional SEO, and how you can actually build on top of it, right? So essentially, if you can think about GEO, um, with the launch of new tools and new AI engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and even like Google's AI mode, it's important to focus on GEO because it's actually building on top of your traditional SEO, right? And there is a recent study that happened, and it basically says that by implementing GEO techniques, your content visibility can improve as much as 40%. So that's very important, as you can see. And the tactics that I'm going to mention, that's going to make your website 100% website ready. It doesn't matter if you are a B2B website, B2C website. We will be going through some practical examples. So, how is traditional SEO different than generative SEO, and what's basically the difference, right? So it's mainly about the goal shift. Now, if you think about it, the traditional SEO is focused on getting your keywords ranked and getting your website in the higher search engine results position, right? SERP. And the goal is to get cited on but compared to like GEO is more about getting cited on AI generated answers, like, right? For example, if you're searching on Google Copilot or ChatGPT, the main goal is that the website gets cited over there. So that's the main difference. The other example or the difference is platform expansion. So traditional SEO focuses only on like Google and Bing, but GEO focuses on pretty much all the AI search engines out there. But not just that, it's also about being visible in chatbots, forums, and any touch point that modern user is going to be using, right? The third example or difference is content selection. So search engines rank like full pages, but the key difference here is AI models only select like snippets or facts to assemble answer. So they favor content that is clear, factual, and LLM friendly, so that it's easier for AI to interpret. And then also there is a change in the engagement metric. You must have already observed it if you are having Google Analytics 4 or Google Search Console. Organic traffic is declining, and that's getting more and more common because AI search engine is basically summarizing your page content and giving the answer right away. So why would people click on the link and visit your website, right? So engagement metrics are changing, but that doesn't mean that the success metrics are not adapted, right? So from the GEO perspective, it's more about how can your websites get more citations and more mentions within AI answers and not just clicks. So that's the overall difference, right? Now, content strategy is very important when it comes to optimizing for AI answers. So keep in mind that there are two main areas in this. Write for clarity, brevity, and quotability, right? Use concise and declarative sentences and avoid fluff, right? For example, 96% of buyers report satisfaction with this product. That's a very specific and data-backed sentence over there. So AI search engines will actually pick them up rather than vague statements. So using quantifiable facts, definitions, and crisp wording will actually make it easy for AI to quote that piece of text when it comes to your website. Strong structure and headings and list is again very important. This is actually a basic for even traditional SEO. Make sure that you have proper title, description, H1, H2, H3 tags, and break down your text in clean bullets and subheadings. So that way, well structured content is easier for AI to summarize it and understand the different topics and subtopics. So content strategy and the content format is something that you should consider. When it comes to the content itself, provide direct answers and demonstrate EEAT. Direct answers and summaries is actually very important, and try to anticipate common questions in the niche and answer them. So for example, you can include like FAQ section, or you can even add a quick summary at the very top or a quick definition at the top of the page. I mentioned about experience and expertise. This is more about sharing first-hand experience and insights through case studies and testimonials, right? If you are collecting a lot of data, if you are an enterprise brand, compile it, analyze it, and share case studies that is unique to your brand, to your company, that is unique to your customers, right? So that way, it's a very specific data-backed case study that you can share that will help boost credibility with both users and AI. From an authority and trust perspective, make sure to add bios, on your WordPress site or any other content management system, right? List the author credentials or experience. Real author names and profile build trust for both users and AI. So keep content up to date and accurate, and then offer unique insights, right? Original research, statistics, or case studies from your business. If your content contains data points not widely found elsewhere, an AI answer might have to cite you as a source, right? So if anyone is asking a question, and if that answer is not available in any other place, and if you are the only provider of that answer, more than likely your website will be quoted. Focus on tone, readability, and WordPress. Now, so this is where it gets into other soft aspects of your website. Machine friendly writing, right? Don't complicate, don't use jargons too much, avoid sarcasm and ambiguity. So that way your content is more machine friendly. Run through an LLM tool like ChatGPT or Gemini and see if it's able to summarize it. If the summary highlights the key points, then it means you're good. But if it's missing out on important aspects, then you need to rewrite it. I want to mention here a plugin that I have found it pretty useful, and it's all-in-one SEO or AI SEO. There is also another tool called Rank Math, and then Yoast, which is pretty common, but AI SEO is pretty good in terms of adding these new AI features and improving your overall WordPress-based workflow. Now comes the technical side of things, and again, this is the foundation that you absolutely need to take care of. So ensure your website is crawlable, right? Don't block AI crawlers like OpenAI, GPT, Bingbot, or Google SGE. Because if you block them, obviously your website will not be cited. So ensure that you monitor server logs. And if you don't know how to do that, let me know in the comment section. It's pretty straightforward, but it requires some tweaks. There is another tactic that recently came up, which is creating a sitemap and then converting that into llm.txt file and uploading it to your root directory. That is basically a summary of your entire website and a compilation of all the important links, and it helps LLM understand all the critical pages within your website, the core themes, high level summary, so that way it's easier for LLM to quote it. Focus on speed and mobile friendliness. Obviously, this is applicable for traditional SEO, but you can use a plugin for caching or image optimization to keep website load times snappy. Minimize JavaScript rendering. Remember that LLMs have a hard time to read from a text that requires like any type of interaction. So keep it simple. It's the same concept with traditional SEO. So minimize JavaScript. Make sure that you have comprehensive schema markup. So if it's a how-to or an article or an FAQ or a local business, create an XML schema or schema markup so that it helps crawlers understand the structure and what type of page it is. I mentioned about AI SEO tool that does that, but there are tools like Rank Math and even like Schema Pro that makes it easier to create those schema markup. From a clean indexing and sitemap perspective, maintain um, XML sitemaps and fix scroll errors. So this is where you need to get into your Google Search Console and identify any technical issues that your website might be facing and then resolve them. All right. From a keyword standpoint, make sure you focus on long tail and conversational phrases. You can target like full sentence questions or very specific queries that people might ask. You can even use a tool like Answer the Public or Google's People Also Ask. Focus on intent and context because generative AI looks at intent behind queries more than the exact match keyword. Focus on what is it that your end user trying to ask and then answer that question, right? And then there is a technique called as query fan out or branching out. It's basically target spin-off queries by creating content for common variants, like adding the current year or review. Um, Now, the other aspect is, more and more people and actually tools are enabling these voice search functionality. So try to modify your content so that it fits natural speech patterns, right? So for a local business, it will look something like including local identifier or phrases in your copy, using FAQ section to capture voice queries as explicit Q&A, implement schema markup I mentioned earlier, ensure your site's content mirrors how people actually speak, right? And then make sure that you monitor and adapt it. So think about voice search as well when it comes to your website. Now, we spoke about on page, we spoke about technical, we spoke about the structure, the keywords. What about off page, that is beyond your website? Now, this is where it's extremely important to remember that your traditional SEO tactics is still relevant, but in this case, it's a bit different. What I mean by that is AI search engines will consider brand mentions and citations as a trust signal, right? So AI models gauge authority from elsewhere, from everywhere your brand is mentioned, right? So get featured in industry sites or list. Pursue like co-citations by contributing content or quotes on high authority publication. Engage in moderated community. Forums like Reddit, Quora, Stack Overflow if you are in the technical side. Similar platforms are a treasure trove for AI because when you participate genuinely by answering questions, the contributions might be referred by AI as authoritative community input. Consistency across profile matters, right? Maintain a consistent profile, brand mention everywhere online. Use the same name, tagline, key facts on your website, social media, business directories, and press release. And then keep an eye on social media and emerging platform because things always change. Share your content on LinkedIn and X whenever relevant, and consider republishing or repurposing WordPress content on Medium or industry specific forums for additional reach. Leverage review and press for AI visibility. This acts like social proof. We talked about trust before and now social proof. So reviews on third-party platforms like Google, Yelp, G2 Crowd, they are important because they are user-generated review and it influences AI, right? Encourage your customers to leave a review on multiple platforms and then feature those testimonials on your website. So that way it focuses on that EEAT, right? And we again, social signal plus trust is a great combination. Press release and guest post, again, consider guest posting. It's not a great tactic, but still, if as long as your website is getting cited on well-known sites, it's all about AI getting influenced, right? When it comes to local versus enterprise GEO consideration, from a local business standpoint, ensure your site highlights local relevance in content. Use WordPress plugins to embed maps and local business schema. Be present on mapping and review platforms, and then optimize for voice search. Something extremely important is Google Business Profile. Make sure that you have that and update it so that way your website is optimized for local business. But from an enterprise standpoint, ensure public FAQs and support articles are well structured. Implement hreflang if you are in multiple languages and regions. Publish white papers and original research paper, because that's the power that you have as an enterprise brand. You collect a lot of data, you have a lot of customers, different perspective. So creating case studies is always good. And then monitor brand mentions and sentiments, so that you can always be on top of things if something goes sideways. From a quick workflow perspective for AI SEO, draft using LLM, edit using your human expertise, optimize it using a tool like AI SEO, publish using best practices, and then monitor. So, I know when I went through this quickly. I will share a link of this site in the description. But, it's very simple, right? You're using a combination of AI tools, LLM, combining that with human expertise, following traditional SEO best practices, and then you're monitoring it overall, right? It's a good combination. It's not like crazy workflow. It's a different way of doing things. That's it, right? Now, from an audit and best practices, what I would recommend is you audit quarterly, if not monthly. Identify new AI platforms, tools that have emerged. It's always good to ensure that you're on the lookout for it. Keep your site, in such a way that it's not blocking any new crawlers. Access what new content formats are being favored. Update best performing content. Review user interaction signals, and then monitor AI mention. Content freshness and recency is very important when it comes to AI overviews, because AI search engines typically lean more towards recent content. All right, and finally, what I would suggest is you've got to embrace GEO, right? That's the new way of SEO, I would say. And implementing GEO best practices on a WordPress site can lead to notable increase in not only organic traffic but your organic reach, your information reaching users, even when they don't click a link, right? That's very important. And some businesses are already seeing their traffic from LLM based tools doubling every few months by actively pursuing geo tactics. So ultimately, it's the sites that provide the most helpful, trustworthy content that's going to win, whether the user reading it is a human or an AI, right? That's where the trend is going. So I know this was a lot in terms of AI SEO or GEO. Hopefully, you learned a lot. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you.